It's much too groovy a summer's day.
Hey, it's Joe Johnson, host of Beatle Brunch here on the Flower Power Cruise, and you never know who you're going to run into, except I actually did. I knew the Cyrkle was going to be on board the Beatle on the Flower Power Cruise for Beatle Brunch, so we took this opportunity to meet the guys, Mike Loskamp.
Yes.
And Don Daneman.
Yes.
And you were two of the original members
Yes.
of the Cyrkle. And before we start with the Beatle connection, and you're on the last tour, the weird spelling of the Cyrkle, it's kind of legendary, but luckily for our listeners, it has a Beatle connection.
John Lennon.
John Lennon. Of
Yes,
course it would
John
be.
Lennon. And basically what happened was Brian Epstein walks into the studio one day and he hands me his business card. And we were the Rondells from Lafayette College at the time. He turns it over and there's a weird scribbling on there. Kirk, what is that? Oh no, this is your new name, Don. This is the Cyrkle. And it was John that came up with it. And then we can fast forward to the Beatles tour. Oh, guys, do you know how to spell yet? John would say. Yeah, he would all the time. He would give that to us.
Now, was the Cyrkle going to be your name anyway, but you spelled it traditionally, or did
No,
John just actually come up with the name?
he came up with it. There was no thought of the Cyrkle. That was a totally new thing.
Did he ever explain why the Cyrkle?
No.
No.
It was just, Beatle fans know that John is a strange thinker.
Right.
And he just thought it up, yeah.
Rumor has it that Brian Epstein asked the boys, as they called the Beatles, as he called the Beatles, asked them for suggestions for a name for his new American group. Okay. And then John volunteered the Cyrkle.
So let's talk about the tour, because the Beatles decided to do their third U.S. tour in August of '66. As fans, we didn't know it was going to be the last. You may have known, but it turned out to be the last.
We did not know.
You didn't get little inklings along the way?
That it was last? No.
Yeah, it was going to be the final tour?
No, only like I said, hearing from George at the end about, maybe we're kind of finished. I think maybe we don't want to tour anymore. He was taking pictures, like sort of memories to have to do that. So we got a sense of that at the end. But at the beginning, no, we didn't know.
Now, was there anything surprising or fun that you saw in the Beatles 8 Days a Week, the Touring Years movie that came out? Because that was really all about that end of tour. It was done by Ron Howard.
I did see it, and to be honest, I was really mad we weren't in it.
Oh, you weren't in it? Because
we were
they
not
did
in
that
it.
Candlestick Park thing at the end.
Yeah, now I'm not sure if he had the 66 footage. Mike, do you remember? Did you see it?
No, I don't recall. I might have seen it, but I don't recall exactly.
I'm not sure if it was. Yeah, I'm not
Been
sure
a
if it
long
was.
time.
I'm not sure if it was 66 or 65 that they had. But we weren't in it, and I was kind of disappointed.
Oh, it's too bad. Well, they did. Somebody, Ron Howard said a woman found some footage under the bed and called him up, and they ended up using like the Beatles driving off the field or whatever.
Yeah.
But that last tour, well, let's talk about the actual tour. Were you in the airplane with them? Were you in the limos and riding back and forth from the stadiums?
Yeah. Well, no, not riding back and forth from the stadiums, but on the plane, yes.
Okay.
And Mike.
Yeah.
You might have heard this story.
Oh, that's okay. I can hear it again.
Okay. All right. This is my Paul on the plane story, and we actually do this on the show. And basically, they were behind a wall, and we were kind of sitting toward the front. But now, everybody on the whole tour was on this plane. They're in the back, and we really wanted to meet them because we hadn't met them yet. This is the beginning. And finally, the door opens. Pan, come here, over here. You know what to do. And do it.
Oh.
There's Paul. We do this in the show. I mean, that's why I think it's fun. Anyway, and he slowly works his way up. And he's very jovial. He's very cordial. You could see shaking hands, smiling. People are saying hello. Some he knows, some he's meeting. And when he gets to us, our co-manager, Nat Weiss, partners with Brian Epstein, knows them, and he introduces us. Don Daneman, meet Paul McCartney. So I get to shake hands. Hi, Paul. Wow, great to meet you. A couple of words back and forth.
Sure.
Tom Dawes, meet Paul McCartney. A couple of words back and forth. And, okay, great to meet you. Back he goes, end of the, back behind the wall. And then Tommy and I analyzed every word that got said as to how could we have been cooler to keep it going longer.
Right.
Now, of course, we did meet him, and we got to hang with him, a little, afterwards. But at that moment, oh God, how did we blow that?
So the band breaks up, I guess, because Brian Epstein being your manager, he obviously died, sadly passed away. And
That was a factor, yeah.
Yeah, things kind of went. You guys moved on to your own careers. You had something to do with jingle writing, and
I was very lucky. Tommy and I got into the jingle field. We each had our own companies, and we wrote jingles, and I had a nice career. We both had really nice careers, actually.
Fantastic. And what about you, Mike?
Well, I moved back to Dayton, Ohio, where I'm originally from, in January 1968. Formed another band, which was Greenlight Sunday. We had an RCA album out in 1970 with a single on that, and I was with that group until 1980, and then I've just been playing with group after group after group ever since. I've never quit playing.
So why did you decide to get back together some 50-some years later?
The origin of that came from our current bandmate, Pat McLaughlin. And Pat was in the band with Mike.
So it was kind of Pat like talking to me and asking me if I would be interested in doing it, and he was going to research, try to find out if the name had been was available, and he did check and it was available. So he went through that process and he actually got control of the name, which was very important. Yeah. And at that point, we decided to try to find this guy because we knew where the two of the other original members were, but neither one of them they were already involved in careers. One of them were semi-retired, and they really weren't interested in going out on the road again.
Right.
Anyway, so I get a call from Mike. Are you interested? We're thinking to revive the Cyrkle, and I'm actually sitting in my TV room with my wife, and it's on speaker, so she hears this, and I sort of grit my teeth because I'm thinking, the initial thought was, wow, this could be cool. I look at her, I get the thumbs up.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Permission granted, and I told him yes, and so that got the ball rolling on a whole bunch of things.
The red rubber ball?
It got the red rubber ball rolling.
Material for the act.
Yeah, with a whole bunch of things that were required to get a group going again. You don't just decide you're going to play. You have to do stuff.
A lot of stuff.
So Pat, first we had to meet. Okay, the first meeting, not having seen Mike for 50 years, was a big hug. That's pretty good. We came in with the band. We hugged. It was like very cool. They were all nervous. How is that going to be, And basically. So we rehearsed, and that went pretty well, immediately when we rehearsed, right?
We pretty much gelled right away.
Yeah.
The rest of us had already been, and gas pump jockeys had already been, playing with each other for a while, and we were real comfortable with each other, and then Don just fit right in.
So it was a good simpatico, groovy together thing. And then we were told you got to have a video, promo video, if you want to get booked.
Right.
So Pat, he rented a theater, he hired a film crew, because they said, and don't shoot it on your cell phones.
Right.
It has to be for real. Right. He hired a theater. They edited a nice promo video. I actually mixed it because I have that expertise from all my years of mixing. And so we put out a live album from that concert that we did with the promo video. And that got interest, and then we slowly started getting booked.
And that album is actually available on Apple, iTunes, and all of the services, really, Spotify and all of that. And it was recorded in 2016, and it includes all of the songs, the main songs that the Cyrkle were famous for, plus some other stuff, too, that we do.
Okay. And so what is your show like now? Because you've got the two main hits and then the other records, but do you fill it in with Beatles or do you fill it in with songs of the period?
There's a interesting mix that we have slowly evolved into. And basically, it's a combination of, we found out, because we were skeptical of this at first, that a lot of the stories from that past, people are really interested in.
Sure, yeah.
So we talk about the songs and tie it in, some Beatles songs that are tied into, for instance, one song we do in the show, we do Paperback Writer. And the setup is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to announce this next song with a heavy heart. And the reason is because Red Rubber Ball made only number 2.
Right
It
behind.
was a really big song, but it made number 2. The following was number 1 when Red Rubber Ball was number 2. Paperback. We
Awesome.
go right into it, and that's the kind of stuff that we do.
So how can the listeners, the fans, catch up with you? Have the website up and running? What's going on?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page and a website, Cyrkle.com, and
TheCircle.com.
TheCirkle.com. Yeah.
TheCirkle.com.
And I was saying there is the CD which is available. You can order it online, or you can go through Spotify or one of the services like that, Apple.
Wait a minute. I'm getting a signal from John Lennon. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He's just changed your name to Full Circle.
There you go.
So that's it. We're here live. We're live on the Flower Power Cruise with the guys from the Cyrkle, the Beatle Brunch, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.